Live from Detroit.
Yo, what up, though? It's your man Jay Johnson on one half of the culture, one half of Shop Talk, one half of everything. And I am here to go over a press conference with Elon Musk and Donald Trump from the other day. I've seen a lot of clips from it on the internet, and I wanted to watch it for myself. I've seen bits and pieces of it. Forbes has uploaded the entire video unedited. So we're going to watch it together. I'm going to try to provide some feedback of what I think. And I mean, we're just going to go from there. You feel me?
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else.
Gaza.
We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse.
I wonder who these people are behind him. I think that's his father. Maybe that's his. That kind of looks like his face. Maybe that's his mom. Him and his wife. Who knows who this is? Who knows who this is? I don't know. And he got a big ass penny back here. I mean, it's Abraham Lincoln. I wonder what all this stuff means. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's important if it's on display. Probably, I don't know.
And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal?
All right, there go to them hand symbols, those hand signals. You know how y'all be, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be doing all the, all y'all niggas who be traveling. Y'all know.
Of Doge and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you
he don't like his son.
I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If
like, get this kid out of here. Where your mom at?
If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy.
All right, so I guess I should have said the reason I even watched this is because, I mean, I have no idea what's going on. I keep hearing people saying that Elon is trying to take over the government. He has access to private information and things of that nature. I just don't know. So that's why I'm trying to look. I want to hear him talk. You feel me? I want to hear what he got to say. So I can't make heads or tails of it as of right now.
So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy.
You are unelected.
That's not to say that there aren't some good. There are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt.
$2 trillion. $2 trillion. Who do we owe this money to, and why do we still have legs?
I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense, and if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
I mean, just on the surface, I mean, that means a lot. I mean, if we owe $2 trillion and the interest alone is more than the Defense Department's budget, and we spend so much money on defense. If just the minimum payments essentially is keeping us afloat, we definitely have to get things under control. But where are things not in control? I mean, it's the federal government, so that shit probably all out of whack. But I mean, on the surface, I mean, so far so good, I suppose. So, all right, let's keep going.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away?
This hand symbol is like, no one does this in real life. You are signaling to your peoples, by the way.
With about 30 million,
right,
etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Well, how you garner millions of dollars, tens of $millions of the wealth, and you don't get paid that much? How'd you do it?
Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking.
All right. Side note. Let's take a look at Elon's kid. Is this a Cuban link he has on his neck? Does his kid have on a Cuban link?
Well, we just, if you look at, say Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks.
Okay, that's crazy. Is that not crazy? I mean, I haven't run no multinational company, but man, I ran a podcast studio for 8 years, 7 years. Like payments have to have a categorization. Got to make a comment, when you do your taxes at the end of the year, like, how much went to rent? How much went to advertising? How much went to equipment? How much went to, like, you got to do some sort of accounting for the money. So why isn't that there at the Treasury Department? And how, like, if you're on a do not pay list, we should probably not be paying. I don't know.
You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy.
For sure.
When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything just, they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints.
I mean, how do I put a request for one of those Treasury payments? Because shit, fuck it, put me on the do not pay list. If you're going to pay me, how do I get a government contract? I got to look and see how many government contracts available in my area because they giving money out. You feel me?
But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay.
It's not.
Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So
are you? I'm asking like he talking back to me. Like, so you saying that somebody 150 years old still getting Social Security checks? Is it that slow down at all? How do I get one of these? I need one of these checks, man. Give me one of them checks. It's hard out here to live.
That's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this, obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s.
What the fuck are y'all talking about, dog? What are you? No, it's not. No, you're not. Like, what are y'all talking about?
Because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy?
Yes.
There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So
I don't know, man. That sounds, I don't understand it. What piece of, I don't understand it. I understand everything being paperwork, but isn't a mine? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, I do, but I don't understand it.
I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think, that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity, is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet. So people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
All right.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing
Who's this? Who is this nigga over here laughing? Yeah, he just over here chilling. All right, let's hear this question.
it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted, we have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House, we won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
Who in charge over here? Who's in charge over here? It's looking real different.
And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for. But in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are, in effect, policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as...
Did the kid say no? Let's hear.
Are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency.
Well, there will be no accountability and out of the mouth of babes. I hate that saying. The kid is like, no. And he looking at him like, look at everybody looking at the kid. He looking directly at the kid. You looking at the kid. You looking at the kid. George Washington looking at the kid. Look at Abraham Lincoln looking at the kid. Like, how dare you say that?
We actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately.
That part.
Yourself.
Yes, but transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that.
All right, so the Doge website is up, doge.gov, and I'm on it now. What time is it? It's at 12:10 a.m. They just posted something at 11:42, at 11:40, 9:01 p.m., 7:47. So they're updating in real time everything they do.
Area, if we
Well,
thought there was.
I have no idea if they're updating everything they do, because this is just tweets and posts. I don't know what else they did. This could be what they did, or like 100% our federal government needs to be audited. And this is the first time in my lifetime that I hear about a public audit. People are asking questions, and there are things that we can look to on the internet to garner some sort of information. 100% we need an audit. Also, we need somebody to audit the auditors, because if you don't audit the auditors, are you doing an audit? And you damn near might need somebody to audit the auditors who's auditing the auditors. I know I'm not being facetious. I'm dead ass serious though. You 100% need an auditor, because the Treasury is sending out blank checks. You need an auditor for sure.
A lack of transparency or a conflict of interest, and we watch that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous, and we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy.
What are you talking about?
But we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? And why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this.
All right, so a question down in the comments. Let me know what y'all feeling so far. I mean, this is not gospel or anything. I just wanted to hear another side, because they saying that, you know, Elon is going crazy and this still in the government. I mean, a portion of me say, listen, if we have never been audited and never passed the audit, never been held responsible, and there's someone who's about to do just that, yeah, I would probably scream bloody murder as well. Me personally. What I mean, that's just what I would do.
I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt.
This is all about the ask. So why do you, if these things are true, we're finding corruption, tens of billions of dollars have been stopped. Why do you think a judge would try to stop the audit that's going on? Like, real talk. Like, why do you think, if anybody got some proof, I would love to see. Not because I don't think it exists, but I would likely just love to see it. If y'all think something else is going on, I would love to see it. But if it's not, and they just doing the audit and they coming across all these things, like, why would somebody stop the audit? I don't know. What do you think? Down in the comments, let me know.
It is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a
That's
contract.
insane. Can I get a contract?
A 3-month contract. Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
That's
but
what she
if
said.
you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. It's a consultant. here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that
That's
he got money
insane.
for 20 years, you know? They don't
That's
say it. They
insane.
just keep getting checks month after month, and you have various things like that, and even much worse than that, actually, much worse.
That's insane.
And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, you know, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts, so he has to get a kickback. So
I mean, give me a
that's what I
contract.
got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge, and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings, and he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million, $59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants, all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk, can I ask you a question? You
Well,
said
if I may sort of just going for the president's comments.
So there was a hotel who received $59 million for housing migrants at double the rate at a full occupancy. That's crazy. So it's like the federal government is paying. That's crazy, if true.
At a high level, you say, well, what are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with the support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1, and then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public.
All right, this is one I want to get to this specifically, because I've been saying like, yo, he's going in there and removing regulations so he personally can get government contracts and do this and that. So you talking about regulation? Let's hear it.
Good. We need to free the builders of America to build, and if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you can cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's, the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average?
All right, full of transparency. That sounds amazing. It also sounds like a campaign promise. Now, will we reduce the debt $2 trillion to 1 trillion and then stop borrowing so much money and get rid of inflation and then stuff go down? Like in an ideal world, it sounds like that. But like, what are the regulations that you're trying to remove? Like, so if there's a regulation to build houses, does that mean kids in the neighborhood gonna get cancer now? I mean, like, we would need to know, like, what regulation are you removing? Why was that regulation there? Now, if that regulation is only there to get somebody pockets greased, before any permit get passed out, you got to go do this and do this because I got a homie who runs the department, something like that. Get rid of it. But like, we would need to know, like, well, what regulation are you? Is it safety regulation, safety physical, or safety in the future, or whatever? So you can't just get rid of all regulations until it's explained. So, but that makes sense. Listen, we are about we're 19 minutes into this 30-minute video. I've been talking for 30 minutes. I'll come back later with a part 2 for the rest of this video. I do want to hear your thoughts about this so far. Saying they didn't found tens of billions of dollars. Treasury Department writing checks with no categorization, no memos, don't know who it's going to. People getting paid on the do not pay list. Allegedly. It sounds like it's going crazy in there, and that's probably why we got so much debt. I'm worried though, because if I work for one of them 3-letter agencies and I use the Treasury Department to fund clandestine things in other places, well, y'all boys better watch out. Maybe the reason that payment don't got no name or no categorization because that was an assassination tip in Bosnia or something like that. Who knows? I mean, I don't know that that's the case, but got to be careful. I do want to hear what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you will. Hopefully you will. And I'll get on y'all in a minute.